Welcome to Craft School and our Easy Kids Craft series. In this next lesson, we're going to make some felt finger puppets. The thing I love about this project is you can make them even if you're just starting into crafts and you need a parent or an adult to work with you, or if you have a little bit more advanced skills and you want to actually sew them together, you can do that too. So this craft is perfect for almost any level. For your materials and tools, you're going to need a pattern, and you can find the link for this pattern at the bottom of this video. And there's 2 pages to the pattern. You'll want to collect some felt, and you can see I have felt colors here that look a little bit like woodland animals. A few colors thrown in that we're going to make some scarves and hats with. I like to use a wool blend felt, and there's some links down below the video. You can find some resourcing, or you can find some felt at your craft store. You'll also need some scissors, and make sure the scissors are sharp enough to cut felt. I have a permanent, very fine point marker here, a black pencil and a white pencil to mark onto the felt, some fast drying tacky glue, and then a little bowl of black beads and jingle bells to add eyes and extra touches to your little animals. So the first thing you'll want to do is go ahead and cut out all the pieces in your pattern. And there's some very, very tiny pieces here. So maybe have a section where you can pile each of the animals together and keep them in an envelope so you can save them for later. And something also to remember is, as I'm doing this video, you can pause and finish to catch up and then turn it back on again so we can be working together throughout the video. My pattern pieces are cut out and I've put them in stacks for each animal. And one of the things you'll notice on your pattern is at the bottom we have these little drawings of each animal so you'll know where to put some of the parts and pieces. But make a note that your bunny will actually have a tail on the back as well as your deer, and those you can't see in the image, but something to remember. Now let's transfer these patterns onto our felt. I'm going to use both a white pencil and a black pencil. And let's see, we're going to make the deer. So I'm going to pull out the deer color of felt, and here's the body for the deer. And I think for the deer, the dark pencil will work better. And you'll notice on the pattern that it will say 2x or 1x or however many pieces you need of each of the pattern. Now I find the easiest way to cut felt is to go ahead and use the pencil to mark all the way around the pattern rather than try to pin it on and cut it out. It just makes it easier. So you can just pencil the edge of that right on there. Now, if you feel comfortable, you can cut that out and stack it and cut 2 out at once. Or if you're a little more beginner level, go ahead and trace 1 more and cut them out separately. And once I've traced the patterns, I'll go ahead and cut them out of the felt. And when you cut, you'll want to make for sure you cut the black line off. So cut inside of your lines. So using the drawings as a guide, go ahead and cut out all of your parts and pieces for all of your animals. So I've cut all of my pieces, and I've assembled each of the animals to keep things organized and to see exactly how I'm going to glue it together. So I'm going to use this quick dry tacky glue. Now if you're an advanced crafter, you could use a hot glue gun, low temperature is just fine, or you might even want to use some embroidery thread and stitch around the edges. Either way, it's going to be adorable. So one of the tips that I like to use when I'm using this tacky glue is a toothpick rather than just pouring the glue on to the felt, which might cause a mess. This will actually help you control it a little bit better. So I have a little bowl here, and I'll pour probably about, I don't know, a dime of glue onto my bowl. And then with the toothpick, I'll take the little pieces and parts and one by one assemble the fronts of my animals. Now if you want to, you can move the back of the animal off. We're going to glue that together at the very end. So I'll move that away. And I'm going to use my picture here as my guide to exactly where I'll put that nose. So something like this, I'll try to put that down enough glue all the way to the edge, you can just kind of roll the toothpick around and then place it down very carefully. Now on a bigger piece like this, rather than using the toothpick, this is where I might go ahead and use straight out of the glue, but be careful. Go all the way around the edge, maybe a little dab in the center, and then take the toothpick and spread it around. The back of the deer needs a tail. So some of the animals have little arms, and this is where you're going to layer your felt right on top of the other. You can see now we have 3 stacks there, and you just kind of press it down. Make sure you have enough glue on the edge so that it will stay. And I'll just keep doing this and finish assembling all of my noses and ears and arms and bellies to all of my animals. There's also a hat and a scarf in the pattern, and this is if you're making these as more of a winter set. You can also get creative and add any sort of additional things you want to dress up your animals. So here's my little bear hat. I think I'll go ahead and glue that on. And the bunny scarf, I'm going to wait until we assemble the body so that I can wrap it all the way around. And now I'm ready to put on the eyes and draw in the little mouths. So I'm using these little tiny black beads for eyes, and they probably will work better if you can sew them on because they are plastic. They might pop off easier, but if you do want to glue them on, make sure that you add glue right into the hole and put the hole down onto the felt, because that will help hold the fiber a little bit better than just the slick side of the bead itself. And I'll put some glue right into the hole. And very carefully place that onto my bear. And if you're gluing them on, give it a little bit of time to dry because this will take longer to set, more so than the felt itself. Now I'm going to add the little mouths and some of the details using this extra fine point permanent marker, and this was purchased at an art supply store. You'll want to make for sure it's permanent and that the tip is really tiny. So I have this little mouth you can see drawn right underneath the nose. Just very carefully make the little quarter circles up so he looks like he's smiling. The owl doesn't have anything. We'll do the same thing for the deer. A little bit smaller mouth on the deer. The bunny. I'm also going to put little dots for the bunny's whiskers. Put one on the white and a couple over here on the gray. And then the fox. If you want to, you can put little fingers on your bunny. Just put a couple little stripes right there, and maybe some on the bear. And anything else you want to add. So now I'm going to let this set for a while and let everything dry, especially those eyes, so you can see what it looks like when I've glued the front to my back so that I can put my finger in the finger puppet, and this is how I did it. I'll turn over the back and use my tacky glue and put a very fine line all the way around, and you want to work a little bit quickly because you don't want this to dry, but it will take a few minutes to dry, so you'll be okay. And then carefully line those up and place it one right on top of the other. If you have a little glue coming out the side, just maybe take a towel or your finger and clean that off. Luckily this glue will dry clear, so you won't be able to see any white marks. And I'll let that dry. The last detail for the bunny is the scarf, so I'm going to wrap that all the way around the finger puppet. This end's going to hang lower, and I'll wrap this one from behind, up and around, and then tuck it back on the top, and I'll put a little glue on that, and that way it looks like he has the scarf wrapped around him. Now I want my scarf shorter, so I'll go ahead and trim it down just a little bit. And if you want to, you can also give that a little bit of a fringe. So on the deer, I've added this little bow and a jingle bell. And you can bring out your creativity and add whatever you want to, whether it be a winter scene or a summer play. This is where it gets to be a lot of fun. Make sure you check out the other videos in this series, and if you want more kids crafts, we have a lot of projects in the Kid Craft series on our site.